Welcome back to the Aos crowd, your home for everything Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, hyper, super, ultra competitive. My name is Quinn. Today I am joined by returning
Big Phil.
Team England captain, Big Phil. Hey!
Just been voted in for a second year. I say voted, ran unopposed for the second year running. So I'll take that as a vote of confidence.
Congratulations, mate. You deserve it. And
Thank you very much.
speaking of which, we've been away a while. The last video was, I think, uploaded in March, if memory serves correctly. And we promised a couple extra videos in between, but of course, Worlds gets in the way. So Phil, please give us a rundown of what has been keeping you away from recording.
Yes, I think very common for us to not really do events as an England team in the build-up. There's normally a lot of eyes on us, so we tend to not try and get lists put out there, or we play different things at events. What we have had since then is we would have had 2 practice weekends to finalise our lists. We obviously had a battlescroll date change within the Worlds pack, which gave us another little bit of time to get the new battlescroll in and trying to work out what had or hadn't changed within the meta and try and guess it, I guess, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Due to the turnaround time of battlescroll to list submission. So I believe we had like 10 days to get lists in post battlescroll. So there's a lot of preemptive testing in the lead up to battlescroll, guessing points changes and rules changes, which I don't know if it was detrimental or beneficial to a degree, because
I mean, it kind of showed at Brothers War. It's a big talking point, I suppose, is where England put their lists during that event, which also happened around like 2 weeks before the battle scroll. No, a week before the battle scroll.
A week before.
Yeah. Which, of course, subtle hints.
Yeah, like Bundo Whalebiter in a Sylvaneth list.
Big freaking Bundo.
Yeah, just trying to throw people off whilst still testing cores of lists. But yeah, I think probably to our detriment, and I'll own this one, is we obviously were looking at Slaves of Darkness a lot, and I took a very skewed list that probably wasn't the norm. Which was 25 Chaos Knights and Be'lakor. When probably we hadn't played with Chosen since I went like 10-0 in January. Because we knew they were going to get hit. They did get hit, but the hit probably wasn't big enough in hindsight to not justify taking them. So, yeah, if I could go back, I'd still have 10 Chosen in my list to give me that get out of jail card and fight your way through something, which in the games that I lost when I got pinned, I got stuck, and it was difficult to fight out of. But we'll come on to all that later on. But yeah, we went into the event pretty confident. We were happy with the 8 that we decided to sit on, so we kind of wanted to make sure we had at least 3 armies that could play Scorched Earth. And then we wanted the rest of our armies to kind of be able to play anything. So we weren't super predictable in how we could be paired against. So we kind of, in terms of like our spread armies, we went with Sylvaneth, Flesh Eater Courts, and we had Lumineth down as one of which we can play Scorched, due to having wind charges and
Yeah.
teleporting Kevlar and so on and so forth. So we had Lewis Swan, who played Sylvaneth with Alariel, Balthanos, Callus and Toll,
Mm-hmm.
Gothmids, and then Spite Revenants.
Yeah.
Then had Simon Weekly on Lumineth, which was Alarith, Avlanor, the Twins,
Mm-hmm.
Stone Guard, Wind Chargers, Cathalar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was on the Slaves. I had 25 Chaos Knights, Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, Sorcerer Lord and Bellicor. Freddy on Blades of Corn,
Of
which
course.
was 40 Warriors, 20 or 20 Wrathmongers, Bloodthirster, and Remgor Ritualist.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say we had probably one of the more different Stormcast lists. We had a lot of discussion in the build-up of this one about having a wizard or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in the end, we decided against said wizard. So
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to try and keep the balance of what the Krondis list looked like, but felt that Krondis was a bit of a point sink.
Yeah. It's a huge points tax. He has to do things in every single phase to be viable, and that just...
Yeah, and it's also like when it does all come off, you see the benefit of him.
Mm-hmm.
But when it doesn't, you really feel that 560 points.
Yeah, it just rips an entire hole into your like economy for the list.
Yeah, so we ended up with a Lord Relictor, Reinforced Prosecutors, Vigilors, Knight Zephyros, Reinforced Paladors, Reinforced Long Strikes, Reinforced Long Strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And our Stormcast list was our highest points winner across the event, which probably doesn't come as much of a surprise.
Nope.
Just trying to pair against 12 Long Strikes is hard enough without the 6 Paladors going in, pinning you, shooting you, charging you, shooting you.
Yeah.
We then had James Hinsdale, who was on Kragnos Sons of Behemoth.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of success with this list in practice, just going in and just doing obscene amounts of damage. So we felt pretty confident using that and slaves as like your bully pieces to go in, go down, and try and bully in pairings.
Yeah.
So that was Craggy, and then War Stomper, and then I think a Gate King Broad.
King Broad. King Broad.
Pig Regiment of Renown.
Of course, because what else are you leaving the house with as a Sons of Behemoth player nowadays?
Exactly.
Just gives you free battle tactics. What do you mean?
Yeah. We then had Richie McCallie, who was on Flesh Eater Corpse. So that was 18 Morbegs, Usharan, Cardinal, Marrow-Scroll. So you're pretty generic effect list.
Standard.
And then we had Max on OBR, which was Catacross, 8 Archive, 20 Mortec Guard. Yeah, really, really solid list that unless you have mortal wounds, you're probably never doing anything to it ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went into the event feeling like our 8 was quite well balanced. We probably had all the like standard armies in terms of like your slaves, your Stormguards, your Ferk. The one list I feel like we probably didn't invest enough time into looking at would have been Cities of Sigmar in the build-up.
Yeah.
That seemed to be like a top performer for most teams.
It's just a solid and reliable core for you get 10 points at a matchup. It's either 8, 10, or 12. Not more, not less.
No, exactly. So yeah, like obviously we're Team England. We're bred to be confident. We we believe we should always be fighting for that top spot. So we were going into the event like aiming to finish on that podium. We knew from prior year, loads of teams have leveled up like significantly over the last 2-3 years, and in all seriousness, there's not really an easy round at Worlds anymore. That event is filled with 228 of the best players in the world.
It's a shark pit, literally.
Every game you go into, you've got to believe they're the best person on that army on any given day. And yeah, you treat everyone with the same amount of respect that you would if you got paired into Denmark, USA, France. It doesn't matter. Like, so yeah, our expectations were to finish on the podium. But we'll get everyone knows that before this, but yeah, we'll get exactly to where we finish later on. Yeah.
All right. So the top 8 selected. You're basically ready for the event. How'd you enjoy the trip to Austria itself? Since, of course, Austria being the host nation for this year, first time after a wonderful performance from Amsterdam hosting the previous years.
Yeah, so we didn't get off to the best of starts, but that wasn't Austria's fault. That was British Airways' fault. So we got delayed by like 4 hours, of which 2.5, 3 hours was sat on the plane on the tarmac. However, we did then get refunded £220 each for our delay. So some people were like up from that because, for example, my brother who played for Turkey only paid like £140 for his flight, and he got given £220 in return.
Nice.
But I being the guy that I wasn't too. This is going to sound really bad. I wasn't too worried about like getting the refund. I just wanted to get to Austria.
Yeah.
So I was annoyed that we're delayed, but obviously, then being like, well, it has kind of paid for like 2 nights in my hotel. Blah blah blah. But yeah, so getting into Austria when we finally got there, really nice, super easy. The airport and getting the train to Leoben. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes. Oh, it's Leoben, but Leoben, same thing.
Yeah. I think everyone at first was like, Jesus Christ, we have to get a 2.5-hour train. What a ball ache. It was actually lovely. Really scenic, going through like the Alpines and like up all the mountains. I think the journey there was like incredible because you're like, right, we're going to Worlds. This is going to be great. And yeah, you're excited. On the way back, it was misty as fuck, so you couldn't see anything, and it was like, oh, now we're going to go to the airport, go home.
Yeah. Preparing you for the England experience again.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Leoben itself was really nice. We stayed at the Asia Spa Hotel, as did USA, Australia, Switzerland, and Ridge from Team Canada. So what we didn't know when we booked was the Asia Spa part of the hotel was a authentic European spa. So for those that don't know, that means nude. Optional. But the locals, we're not afraid to let it all hang loose, let's say. So, but yeah, we had a great time there. Lovely hotel, staff are really accommodating. If it were to be in Austria again, I'd book the Asia Spa in a heartbeat, and I'd recommend it to every team. Like, the price we paid was about £100 a night, but it included full cooked breakfast, access to the spa,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, extremely reasonable.
Superb deal. Like, I'm thinking about saving up a bit more money if Worlds is there again next year to just go to the Asia Spa instead.
Yeah, the key is book it as soon as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like I booked 12 rooms as soon as I knew. So the day we knew Austria was picked as the bid.
Mm-hmm.
And through booking.com, you don't pay until you leave anyway. So
Yeah.
you reserve it at that price. And then I was looking like a month before, and it was like €1,600.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
the price like over doubled. Yeah, they saw everyone was coming to Leoben to play War Dollies, and were like,
Yeah.
right, get the prices up.
No, the best thing about this is that a week before Worlds was held in Leoben, there was a super large 40K event at that same venue. And I think it was like no, I want to say it was 5-person teams, and it was like 100 teams almost. It was 400 players around
Right.
that margin. So Leoben is pretty much used to Warhammer takeover.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it is kind of a small-ish town. It's not like your Vienna or Amsterdam, which is like a million people city. But
yeah,
it's just a town, and it's super
yeah.
nice. It's super quaint.
No, it was really nice. The restaurants in the city centre are really good.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Italian probably the most.
Yeah.
Really good food. Um, only I just wish they kind of had two shuttle buses at the same
Yeah.
time to the venue instead of just the one on the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's just nitpicking. Um, the only thing that I felt was a bit overpriced in Leoben was the taxi service.
Yeah.
So taxis are really expensive
Mm-hmm.
and not particularly easy to get hold of.
Yeah.
Because again, it's such a small town, and apparently there's only roughly 20 taxis that
If
service
at all.
Leoben,
Yeah.
and then they also have town contracts where for certain hours of the day they are employed by the town
Mm-hmm.
to help service the elderly and
Yeah.
disabled and things like that. And obviously, like that's what they do every day of the year, so they
Mm-hmm.
can't just change everything for the week we're there. But yeah, that would be my only like real real negative on it, was just
Mm-hmm.
not being able to get a taxi to the venue,
Yeah.
or you got a taxi to the venue and it cost you €30 for like a 10-minute journey,
Yeah.
and it felt expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but
but
that's
other
just
than that, yeah, it's
ne-
great.
negligible complaints, really.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the singles also happened that weekend. It was only Simon Weekly that played the singles. How did he perform?
So I believe Simon went 2-1 on day one,
Mm-hmm.
and then he dropped out day two,
Ooh.
um, because England played some practice games internally at the
Mm-hmm.
venue on the Thursday.
Yeah.
So he felt it'd be more beneficial to play in that than to continue on with the event. He was, for what it's worth, going to continue playing if it meant odd numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like we just said to him, like you can't drop if it then forces someone else to have a buy. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, we went up to the venue on the first day of singles because
Mm-hmm.
a few of us arrived early as well, and we were like, right, we're just going to scope it out, see what it's like. Venue was incredible,
Yeah.
absolutely massive. Um, like really cool banners up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like really looked like a Warhammer
Yeah.
event with all the iconography and stuff.
Something
The
that
outs.
I've talked to a friend of mine about was that because it's an indoor like tennis place, the floor is actually soft, which you can walk on. Well, I played the singles, of course. So I played 5 days of Warhammer, and I didn't feel it at all. Like, just walking around, standing at my table, didn't really have an impact. I really like the soft flooring.
I'll be honest with you. I've got a really bad foot injury, and I really struggle to stand for like a prolonged period of time, and then not be able to walk the next day. And I didn't feel it at all over the weekend playing teams. So yeah, it was cool. The views outside the back where the food was incredible. The food itself was great. I think.
Yeah.
The barbecue, unbelievable. The schnitzel sandwiches were ridiculous. I think the only thing that got mixed reviews was the buffet. Like it was apparently it was really good on one day.
And it's like a 50-50. It's a casino.
Yeah.
Whether you get something good or not. But the schnitzel sandwiches were great because the description originally read, yeah, you can either have, selecting food, of course, beforehand, you can either have a schnitzel sandwich or the grill or the buffet. I was like, okay, I'll try the schnitzel sandwich, see what that's like, because there's, of course, the traditional Austrian Schnitzelsemmel, which is just a bun with a schnitzel inside. But this was a bun with a schnitzel inside, a whole schnitzel. It's like bun this size and a schnitzel of these dimensions just jammed in there. You probably could have just eaten that for dinner as well. Like
it was crazy. They had loads of good merch. The only thing is it was a lot of Alpine Cup merch.
Yes.
Instead of just Worlds, or not just Worlds merch, but I think there should have been more Worlds related merch alongside the Alpine Cup stuff.
Yeah.
Bar facilities really good. Table service, people come around offering with trolleys. If they do it again next year, they probably need to order more Radler because they ran out. And also, I don't think they realised how much water we were all drinking. So more water as well. But I really can't fault the venue at all. Really, fantastic space, lovely temperature. Just not that they can change anything about this venue. It is a bit annoying that it isn't where everyone is, so people have to travel out to it and then travel back, and it takes like 40 minutes out of your evening, kind of, while you're waiting for the bus, and then you get back to Leoben, and then we had then a 15-minute walk to our hotel, and then we kind of felt like we missed out a bit on the social side, because we then obviously we take the event really seriously, so we then do 2 hours every evening of prep for the next morning. So we had a meeting room booked in our hotel from 9:30 every night till midnight, so that we had this enclosed meeting space where we could all sit down, talk about the lists of what was on for our next round, go through all our matrix, and get that all updated for the morning, so that there was no rush in the morning when we got to the venue.
A great anecdote from Richie. One night I was out with Madigan, just roaming the town, drinking. We found our way to the Asia Spa Hotel. We sat down, had a beer with Mark, James Tinsdale, and Richie. And Richie remarked that he hates playing in a serious team because he would have just loved to go out that evening. This was at around midnight, so...
Yeah, it is hard because, playing for England is it's like having a job.
Yeah.
So, we all want to do really well. We all want to try and win it. And we've had it in the past where people have gone out and then the next day they've not turned up, and it's kind of let the team down. And we're all good mates. No one wants to let each other down, and everyone's fully aware of that. But yeah, it does eat into the social a little bit, because ultimately, this is our hobby at the end of the day, and we still need to enjoy it. So we try and socialize together and have fun, but at Worlds, you still want that time to be able to go out and socialize with all the other teams.
Yeah, because that's what you're also here for. You're not just playing against 6 other teams from all across the globe. You're also there to hang out with your friends, especially people like you who are involved with Tough Crowd, the American side of Warhammer. It's just the people you want to hang out with. At the end of the day, that's what sort of unites Worlds every single year, is the drive to see all the lovely people.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, the social side isn't as big as much of the hobby as the gaming. Like, everyone loves seeing each other, particularly when, for a lot of us, we only see each other once a year at Worlds.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great event, and I would recommend Worlds to anyone. Like, if you can get on a national team, or even if you miss the 8, go and be a support member for your team and go and embrace what Worlds is. Like, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. So, all the logistics have been completed. You're sitting there the night before the event, round 1.
Yep.
The draw, live.
Yeah, so we got Portugal, who were at their first ever Worlds.
Yes.
So they they obviously were probably like, oh my god, we've got Team England. But we approached the game in the same manner that we would approach getting, like I say, the championship rounds against France, Poland, USA, Denmark. So again, like I say, we show every team the same level of respect that everyone gets. Like, your national team's team, right? Like, you are good players. So I wouldn't be honest in saying that a little bit of weight came off everyone's shoulders, like knowing, okay, it's not like last year. We've not got the big dogs, Denmark. We can kind of go in with a little less stress, if that makes sense. Like, you go into that game expecting to win, right? Like, you've been drawn against Portugal. It's their first ever Worlds. England should win that matchup.
Yes.
So yeah, we did our prep, booked out our meeting room, went through everything. We had a relatively straightforward round. We won 6 games and we lost 2, and we took the round out 97-63.
Okay.
I just want to give Pedro a shout out for everything that he's doing for Portugal and the scene out there. He loves the game so much, and you can see that every time you speak to him. And I'm sure the Portugal Warhammer scene is just going to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing what Pedro does with them in the next 12 months in the lead up to Worlds 2026.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like I say, I feel like now with 4th edition, well, the next GHB coming shortly, deep diving each and individual game probably isn't going to be the most fun. So,
especially since Worlds is like the highlight of the year, comes at the end of a GHB, and it's like, we've talked about how slaves like to play the vice or shifting objectives at length on the channel. It's been discussed in forums to no end. So
yeah, lovely round against Portugal. Like I say, it was nice to kind of go into the event with what you'd expect to be a nice win.
mm-hmm.
I feel like we probably dropped a few points where we shouldn't have,
Yeah.
and maybe got a slightly bigger win. But hey, everyone's human. Certain players were playing at their first ever Worlds for us and had different pressures and stresses, and
Mm-hmm.
like it is what it is. But it was nice to kind of blow the cobwebs off.
Yeah.
Round one. It was always going to happen, because for those that don't know, in the lead up to Worlds, one of our best players couldn't attend for us, which was Dan Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had recently left Games Workshop,
Mm-hmm.
just bought a house and had been renovating it, and so most of his income was going into his house, and he made the correct decision that he couldn't attend Worlds. Like, he's got a young son, he's renovating a house. It just wouldn't be a good use of his money to go. And then a week or two before the event, I believe Russia, or Warhammer players from Russia,
Mm-hmm.
were having a lot of visa difficulties, and they offered Bradshaw a spot on the team with it all paid for. So like,
Mm-hmm.
he messaged me and was like, "How do you feel about this?" And I was like, "Obviously, I want you on my team because you're one of the best players in the country, if not the world. But I understand, like, we aren't going to offer to pay for you to go, like,
Yeah.
and it would be stupid of you to turn down the opportunity to go traveling to another country to play Warhammer if it's not going to cost you a penny."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Dan Bradshaw turned into Denis Helebnikov, which is the Russian pronunciation of his name, apparently. So
That is great.
Comrade Dan, stroke Dennis, was on the Russian team. And of course, we drew against Russia round 2, which meant England versus Bradshaw. In all seriousness, only one game in that round mattered, and that was making sure Dan lost. So what I will say about the pairings for this one is they defended with Dan, who took a direct copy of my list but hadn't really played with it a lot.
Oh no.
So we backed myself being able to play the list better, having the fact that I'd played God knows how many games with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we then also put down Freddie, who we knew beat the list, because you had to play the Knights list so perfectly to beat Khorne.
Yeah.
And obviously they rejected the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And they went into Khorne. Thankfully, Freddie does what Freddie does.
Yep.
And he made sure Denis Helebnikov was not victorious. But what I will say is the 7 of my team had a fantastic time against Russia. I'm not going to talk about my game because it's uncouth to do so. But yeah, the rest of my team had a great experience. Philip Kartiev is a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Who had a lot of good things to say after the event and things like that. Have a huge amount of respect for them. Like, they just want to play Warhammer, and I think it's great that Worlds allow them to do so. So hopefully it continues that Russia can keep attending our events, and also I don't see why they have to be called Warhammer players from Russia unless that's a personal choice. I don't know. I think we're all adults. Like, if they are Russian, let them play under that. Thankfully, we won the round 88-72 with, I believe it was 4-4. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So we our losses ended up just being a lot closer than theirs. So we took two 12-8s, a 17-3, and a 15-5. But then we also got like 18-2s for us.
Oh yeah.
So makes a big difference. So then the nightly draw comes in.
Yeah.
So
Worst part about Worlds.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty happy after day one. We're 2-0. It's kind of where we expected to be. And then in comes the draw, and we get Thomas's team Poland. I again, like, not just myself, we as a team have so much respect for the Polish team and what they're doing. They are absolute grinders, incredible players, play a lot, and I mean a fucking lot of Warhammer.
Yeah.
And they were just better than us, and that's okay to admit it. They on that day, they deserved to beat us, and they beat us pretty comprehensively. We played them last year at Worlds, and we won in a like similar point swing to how they beat us this year.
Yeah. Shows up how much they've grown as a team.
Yeah,
just improved.
We did get fisted by Starstrike, pretty hard.
I love that Tom specifically put those two missions, I think it was Starstrike and Vice, into the same round, just to completely mess with everyone.
So yeah, like when we paired, obviously we put Freddie down, going like Freddie will win. Like, he's probably our best player on our team. And then all of a sudden he's been 20-0'd on Starstrike. Like, he's playing Khorne, it wants a castle in the middle, and then the objective lands on like 12, and you're like, fuck. And then his army just got pinned in by 3 cows, and then just couldn't get on the point and got doubled, and basically got his army lifted. And then we ended up winning. We only won 2 games out of our 8. However,
that is rough.
All our losses were, other than Freddie, we had 1, 2, 3 12-8s and 2 13-7s. So like super close games. But unfortunately, the big swing in the LRL Blazer Khorne game made the round look far more one-sided than it perhaps was.
Yeah.
So like, all of our games could have been different. Like, when you lose that close, it can quite easily be the same result the opposite way.
Yeah.
So
yeah. In that case, of course, it's partially luck of the dice, right? If Starstrike lands on 12, it just lands on 12.
Yeah, like it could have landed on 7, and all of a sudden, like,
you've
got to shift 40 Blood Warriors off the middle. But alas, it wasn't to be, and like I say, fair play to Poland. They deserved to beat us on the day, and they did. So congratulations to Thomas. For what it's worth, they also got our vote for best sports.
Yes.
And Team Poland have now won this 2 years in a row, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So Thomas, love what you're doing. Hope you continue. Blah blah blah.
Yes. Round 4.
Had to come back with a bit of a vengeance. So we got paired into the Czech Republic. Absolutely lovely humans.
Yes.
But they unfortunately got a slightly angry England who had just lost, and we knew now to continue with the aim of winning the event, we had to beat everyone and kind of beat everyone big.
Yeah.
So we ended up winning all 8 games. Not capping though. We ended up on 118 to 42.
Oh. So close.
But yeah, really, really good performance from the team, and to bounce back after the disappointment of losing to Poland. It was great to see that fight back from the guys to say that, look, we're still in this event. Let's
get it.
Yeah.
And of course, inflicting generational trauma on the poor Czech.
Yeah. What I will say is, like I say, they're an absolutely incredible bunch and super friendly, and yeah, they got us at the wrong time. So
That's fair. That's fair. Again, another successful day at Worlds wrapped up. A bit sort of cut at the ankles, but you're still running.
Still running. Slightly hamstringed, but still running. And then you can kind of do the maths before the draw goes up anyway. And we got Team France, which we kind of knew we were going to have to play them at some point if we had realistic expectations of trying to win. We felt pretty confident going into the round, and even after pairings, we're like, we've done all right here. Like, we feel solid. Like, we won 4 games, we lost 4 games. The big difference again was our losses, or 2 of our losses even, were so much bigger than what theirs were. And again, we kind of got a bit shafted by Star Strike. So I got paired into Corn, and I lost the roll off. So I was on for being doubled, and the objective landed right in the middle, and I was like, well, I can't do like the C's because that just gives you 10 Chaos Knights, so I'll just do flanks and I'll tow one lad onto the objective just to make sure I score 10. And then what it did mean was he got to catapult like his whole army off these Chaos Knights. So like the double turn, he was just sat in front of everything when he won the priority. And it was just a case of me just fighting to get points, because once cavalry are pinned, they're not like Varangard, they're damage 2, double fight.
Or Morbid Knights really with the retreat and charge.
Yeah, and like he had all this blood tithe because he had the slaughter priest as well. So if I cast bridge to kind of bridge out, then 3d6 charge back in, it just auto unbinds it. So it was rough, and we knew it was a bad matchup going in. We just didn't expect it to be as bad as what it was.
Sometimes when it rains, it pours. That's sort of
it's genuinely the biggest loss I've ever received in Warhammer.
Oh boy.
So I got 19-1, and that.
Wow.
I think it weighs like a decent amount heavier when you're captain as well, because you feel like every time you lose, it means that much more.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we had a great game against the French, or round even. And again, much like Poland, they were better than us, and again they deserved to win the round. So fair play to Guillem and his team for beating us.
They did super well at Worlds this year. They were hungry.
Incredible. Yeah, incredible. And then the pressure kind of felt a bit off at lunch. We're like, it's kind of like completely out of our hands now. We kind of had a drinking ban on during Worlds, so whilst you were playing, you couldn't have beers. So at lunch, I just bought a crate of beers for everyone. I was like, look, going into the next game, just relax, enjoy it. Doesn't matter who we get.
Yeah.
Let's just have some fun. And in the end, we got Australia. So we got to play the Ashes.
Yeah.
Which was nice. And me and Geordie talked quite a lot. So it's quite nice to kind of get our round in. And he was talking a load of shit about our lists. Typical Kiwi that's captaining the Australian team. How ironic. So yeah, it was nice to play against them, and we had a great round, nice and relaxed, and I think both teams enjoyed it being that way, because it was like we're not fighting for anything where we are really. And it took it again. It a bit like the Portugal round. There's that sense of like relief, like we can just relax now because the event is kind of over. So we ended up winning 6 out of our 8, which is great. And yeah, just we all had a lovely time against the Aussies.
Nice.
And then yeah, that was kind of it. It obviously didn't go how we wanted it to. Like, we don't spend thousands of pounds in practice weekends, tournaments, events, worlds, etc., to not be there trying to win it. In the end, we came 6th, went 4-2.
It was pretty tight at the top, right?
Yeah, like, it was really close. But again, like where we ended up is where ultimately I believe we deserved to be. We got beat by 2 teams that were better than us on the day. And people are allowed to beat you even if you believe you've put in enough work to try and win the event. So we came 6th on 532 points, 4-2. Denmark 4-2 and 5th on 551. Russia on 4th on 553, with a 4-2 record as well. And then going to the podium, which was Spain, who went 5-1. Interestingly for Spain, in previous years with that record, you would have seen them come 8th. Because their round wins are really, really tight. So they never like smashed anyone. They just always got
played
over
close.
the line. Yeah, so they went 5-1 with their highest score being an 89.
It shows how much world scoring sort of changes around when you take wins instead of like actual points.
No, 100%, 100%. Because those are other teams that Sweden, for example, down in 11th. 541 points. Canada 544.
Yeah.
So like all these teams have leapfrogged us in prior scorings, but I do think it's correct that round wins shouldn't be the way.
I agree.
And then we had 2 undefeated teams that were first and second.
Who drew against one another.
Exactly.
For one round.
So, Team France narrowly missed out again. They went 5 wins and a draw. And I think again, if you look at the micros of it, America probably did deserve to win the event when you break it all down.
Yeah.
America ended up scoring 598 battle points versus France's 545. So a 53-point swing there. And then game wins, so individual wins across the event. America got 35, whereas Team France got 29.5.
Yeah.
And then maybe France probably had maybe a tougher run, maybe. So France played Switzerland, Canada, Denmark, America, England, Poland.
Yeah.
And America played Slovenia, Czech Republic, Australia, France, Poland, Germany.
Yeah.
But you can only beat who's put in front of you. And I've got a huge amount of friends on Team America. I know how incredibly hard they've worked for the last, not just 12 months, but 3 years to get to the point of being able to call themselves world champions. And they didn't lose to anyone. They won all their games. They won all their games big. And the atmosphere when they got announced as winners of the event showed how much respect everyone in the scene has for them. Huge USA chants, and it was amazing. And I'm so happy for Team America and my friends that are on there, because I know for a few of them that was their last Worlds, and I think that was even before winning it. They've all got lives that they want to get on with, and chasing this dream has taken a lot out of them. So like I say, so happy that they've been able to kind of tick it off. And of course, Team America were the ones that won it when Super Bowl rings were the prizes. So it was written in the stars.
Definitely predestined.
Yeah.
But yeah, results happy-ish, mixed. Top 5 would have been in reach, but narrowly missed out.
To be honest, if you're not on the podium, you're kind of just in there with everyone else that went 4 and 2. So the number doesn't really feel massively relevant, I guess. But yeah, we knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah.
We perhaps didn't believe because maybe we're going to lose as bad as we did in the two rounds that we did lose. But again, it was justified. They were clearly better than us. It'd be wrong to say we're happy with where we finished. I think if we asked my whole team, were you happy? They'd say no. If they said, where would you have wanted to finish? It would have been podium. But ultimately, when you've got 28 countries fighting for the same thing, you don't always get what you want.
It is tight. It is tight.
Yeah. So we'll be back next year. And we go again. Like I say, we've announced our captains for Worlds and Six Nations. Player applications have started.
There's
Operation Worlds.
A year of prep. Here we go.
Yeah. Operation Worlds started yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was Sunday, the 25th of May or whatever. So
barely 3 weeks after the event, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like, it is what it is. I think where we finished is a fair reflection of where we should have been based on performances and results. And
Yeah.
I think the way in which we build up to Worlds in terms of practice needs changing. Like, we had a long post-event call as a team to break down what we think did and didn't go well, and what we'd look to change moving forward, etc., etc. And yeah, lots of positives to move on with over the next 12 months. So
All
looking
right.
forward to the new GHB.
Yeah,
And
that's around the
going.
corner.
Yeah.
All right. I'll ring us out then. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the AOS crowd, I suppose. Thank you very much, Phil, for coming on. A huge shout out to Team England, not only the players, but also the coaching staff and such involved. Seb Donnelly, Mark Colville, Tom Mosley, that were at the event and helped out a bunch.
And Steve Follows.
And Steve Follows, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those that do not already know, our socials are down below. Please follow, subscribe to keep up to date with everything that we do. For example, if you're German speaking and are looking for a new podcast to enjoy, I recently joined Nebensache Tabletop, a German speaking podcast / video format that I'm doing with my good friend Marcus from Vienna. And we are recording almost every week now. And yeah, we talk about all things Warhammer. 40k as well, but I'll try to keep that to a minimum. But yeah, we're looking to record a couple more videos as well. I'm not sure if there's going to be an Austria pre-review of Worlds. Depends on when I can get a hold of Math and or Phil for that. And of course, Math Mallow, being the free spirit that he is, just did a cycling event in Italy, and we're looking to get him for a Worlds review in as well for Team Wales. Couple events coming up. I've got a team event, I've got a singles event, and we'll just see when all that comes around. But Phil, signature phrase.
Remember, you get no extra points for being a cunt.